Well, first of all, thank you everybody, especially the subscribers, for being here because you have allowed me to reach the 1000 mark to be able to monetize the channel. It's not like I'm going to get a lot of money, but I'm happy to be here in good company. Today, to celebrate this, I'm going to speak about a very special watch that I have wanted for a long time, since I discovered last year. So this is the Squale Corso Italiano. I hope it is in focus. I bought this watch about 3 months ago, and now I feel I'm able to make the review about it. So let's jump right into it. Oh, and by the way, I am wearing the Trasca Samitier 36mm, one of the few 25 that exist. I don't know if this is focusing. First, I want to mention that at the moment of this recording, the Squale Corso Italiano is still in stock. But this might change in the future, so please check in the link that I will put in the description of the video if it's still available. What's the origin of the Squale Corso Italiano? It is a limited edition of 500 units that was thought by a store in the Republic of Korea named Wada Watches. By the way, this we were able to talk with the CEO Jin Kim by mail some time ago. So this watch is manufactured in Switzerland by an Italian company that sold cases, amongst others, to Rolex and Blancpain. And each unit of this watch is being sold together with a handmade case of Japanese origin that is included together with other goodies. I have to add that we are based in Spain and we bought the watch second-hand from, as I said, a German gentleman. So we have Republic of Korea, Italy, Germany, Spain, Japan. I mean, if this is not international, I don't know what is. Very briefly, we will say that this is a watch clearly inspired by the original Blancpain 50 Fathoms of 1953 with a case designed by Squale and that equipped the Blancpains of the 60s. This case is called Subino. This is one of the most iconic and beautiful cases we have ever seen. I have to admit that the original 1953 Blancpain 50 Fathom is my favorite diver's watch. And it is a very expensive vintage watch also. This seemed like the second best possible option for me, with a genuine tie-in to the historic timepiece. Jin Kim's goal was to pay tribute to the watches, designs and technologies of the time by highlighting Squale's importance as a manufacturer of the best water-resistant cases at the time. So not only did he combine the exceptional and original design of Blancpain's diver's watches, but he has also coupled it with some successful changes, a cool and unique experience that could not come from any other country than the Republic of Korea. That is so because the watch comes with a figure to hold the watch, some coffee sachets, mine is a second-hand watch, didn't bring that, a cleaning tissue, an ETA 2824 movement, quality spring bars, a Horween leather strap, and a spectacular handmade black lacquered wooden carrying case. This is a complete and spectacular package. Getting the Corso Italiano. For a long time I have been looking for the dive watch within a relatively modest budget. I was looking for a watch that was versatile, iconic in design, not too big, elegant, historically relevant, rugged, symmetrical, come on, something in the style of a Tudor Black Bay 50M, a Submariner, or of course my favorite one, the Blank Pen. Then I saw the Squale Sub 39 limited collection, some limited versions, and I knew that was what I wanted, even ahead of the Black Bay 58. But I had some issues with the Sub 39. Some had the date and I didn't want a date. Others were limited. There were very few black dial options, and the lag distance was 22 millimeters. But overall, I really liked it in general. I still do. Then in the urban gentry, I discovered the existence of the Squale Corso Italiano. It was exactly what I wanted. But there were two problems. It had to be imported, and it was quite expensive, and of course it was a limited edition. And one day I was showing my wife around Chrono 24 about the Squale Sub 39 watches, and then I suddenly saw this watch being announced for sale with a very good price from a gentleman from Germany, and I couldn't think much more about it. I had to buy it immediately. The first feeling when the watch arrived couldn't have been better. I had a lot of doubts about the fake patina, which was one of the few things that I didn't think I would like in the watch, but quickly forgot about it. It was overall very spectacular, sober, elegant, but lovely. Though the case is 39mm, the bezel, which is quite wide, protrudes a bit and the actual diameter comes close to 40.5mm. The height of the lugs is also considerable. I believe it's 47, and it doesn't particularly hug the wrist, so it's a little bit straight. The height, including the sapphire crystal, is 12.6. It looks good, professional, solid, strong, robust, and with an impeccable finishing. The whole case is polished and, well, naturally attracts stains very easily. It needs to be cleaned frequently. But the shape of the case is amazing too. It is a design that evokes other times. When you wear this watch, you imagine yourself in oceanographic boats, diving, or near the sea. It felt like I immediately wanted to get close to the water while wearing this watch. This design is for and by the sea. This is an example of form following function. It's a masterful design from Blank Pen, and the reason it's so beautiful at the same time because it's exquisite in the execution and the way it's laid out. So it's a very good example of how a design can be so beautiful and influential. Now let's go to the negatives or cons or nitpickings of this watch. And I can't believe that for one of my now favorite watches I'm going to write this. This watch has kind of quite a few negative points to say. More than I first imagined, and the truth is that I have sold watches with far fewer negative points, and even with only one or two. This watch is not the case. It's a perfectly imperfect watch. Let's go point by point and then I will explain myself better, or so I hope. You have to follow to the end of the review to understand why I think this is a great watch that will almost for sure be with me forever. Well, the first thing is about the fake patina. It's a matter of taste, but it's not my thing. I would have preferred not to have this fake patina. Now the truth is that it's something that I have gotten quite used to it, and I have found that it doesn't bother me nearly as much as I thought it would. This goes to the point that I wouldn't mind having more watches like this as long as there is something that makes up for it enough. Second thing would be the blue anti-reflective. I think I like this the least. The anti-reflecting has a strong blue component and is quite noticeable, especially in cold light. I have also gotten used to it, and you can always replace the sapphire crystal with one without this much tint. But for now I can put up with it. When editing photos, I have to be careful, however, that the editing does not accentuate this color too much, as my camera profile tends to easily mark the blue tones stronger. The crown. Although it is very original and all of that, the truth is that it's not very comfortable to use. It has an inverted diamond shape, and although it fulfills its function, I would have preferred another type of crown. The good thing is that being an automatic watch, you don't need to use it a lot, so I hardly have to manipulate it. There is no bracelet. I have to admit that this bothers me a bit because I like to have the option to put a bracelet on my watches. Since it has a slightly different design from other sub-39s and a 20mm lux width, not a 22, I can't find a bracelet that fits it well. I was able to put one from the Explorer 1016 replacement that I had with hollow end links, but it really didn't look right and it didn't fit correctly. At the end, I decided to put a mesh bracelet that was out of my comfort zone, and now I really like it very much. So this has also helped me to try new things that I didn't expect to try before. Anyhow, most of the time I have the watch with a two-piece tropical or cloth, paratrooper or other leather straps. Now another point is the spring bar position. The lugs are relatively straight, and so is the position of the holes for the spring bars. You can put a NATO or a paratrooper strap well, but everything is a little bit more horizontal than in other watches. No doubt the whole with leather strap is the ideal choice, or you can use a tropical strap or similar. The lume. Having fake patina, this is not the brightest at night, it's not particularly intense, but it works correctly and it's homogeneous around the indexes and hands. The lume could be better, but at the end it's working, and at least it works better than the L'Oreal Neptune 4 that I sold. It doesn't stand up, but it's okay. What it doesn't stand out at all is the bezel triangle. It really never shines, and it's almost impossible to distinguish after a while. But, well, that's the way it is. The polished case. It is what it is, but having the case completely polished makes it more noticeable for smudges, fingerprints, and so on. The thing with the limited edition. Personally, I really don't like limited editions. I know the appeal they might have, but for a long time I felt that angst of knowing it was the watch that I wanted and that I might not get it if it got sold. I'm glad I bought it now, and I feel some pity for all those who are missing or might never get it, because I think it's a really great watch. So I wish this wasn't a limited edition, this was a permanent part of the Squale collection, but well, that's the way it is. Finally, the price. At $1,600, in this day and age, I think the price is a little bit steep. As much as it is a limited edition and has so many accessories, when you add customs, it's dangerously close to 2,000 euros. That is a lot of money for this watch. It is too much? Well, truth to be told, after owning it, it still seems too much for me, but knowing what I know about the watch, yes, I would pay it, albeit reluctantly. I know that after paying that much money I would soon forget about it and enjoy the watch for what it is. That's the way it works. A price of 1,600 including customs would be much better, but well, hey, that's not meant to be. And I say that because at the end of the day, although the flaws or special things that it has, and there are many, I think at the end it's a brilliant watch. Bear with me. Let's go to the positives. I think the positives are in such a way that really beat all any negative consideration, in my opinion. First, the design. Let's be clear, the dial and bezel design is mostly borrowed from the original Blancpain 50 Fathoms, and I obviously like it. Well, it has the excuse of being a design object of inspiration from other watch brands. Why wouldn't Squale, who had similar models in their time and their story being so intertwined with blank paints, copy it, adapt it? But more than the design itself, the case is simply spectacular and a superb example of something historic that can be worn every day. Quality. Until you have it in your hand, you cannot appreciate the quality of this watch. And this one has it, in tones. The details, the finishes, the accessories, everything has an excellent quality. The bezel has the right resistance and is very nice and without looseness. The movement, the ETA 2084, works perfectly, very precise. The black leather strap is of unparalleled comfort and looks like it could last for years and years. Everything is taken care of in detail. The versatility. Thanks to its vintage, retro or mostly monochromatic design, contained size and 20mm lugs, it can be worn in almost any circumstance. And you will probably not meet anyone with the same watch in the street. It's also a great conversation starter with other aficionados. It is very elegant without trying to be. Considering that the design follows the function, my favorite watches, and not the other way around. A perfect watch for the summer, for going for a swim in the sea, or for dinner in the evening after a drink and a coffee in the afternoon. The triangle of the bezel. It is funny, it has very little loop, but this is one of those things that at first you don't realize. But being a dark brown color, it gives a special touch that makes it really stand out. It gives a very special charm, makes the fake patina less noticeable, and gives a warmer feel to the whole piece. I really love this triangle, it's amazing what it does. History. The history of our watches is a big factor and something that micro brands have to fight against. It is as important a factor as it is central to its role in this watch with the Sabino case and the relationship to the history of dive watches, something I feel every time I wear the watch. Now about the goodies. Although the price is high, we can't forget that complements that it comes with, which as they are very good. We have already mentioned the strap, but there is also the figure to hold the watch, the cleaning cloth, the coffee, which I don't have because it was a second-hand watch, but I can attest that the coffee in Korea is excellent. And also the handmade Japanese box. All part of this unique model and the exceptional attention to detail of what the watch is. The X Factor. I have mentioned many points for improvement, criticism or negative. While many are subjective or minor, this is so with some of the positives. But for me the watch is a good watch in its own right, but it has its quirks that, taken together, add up to that X factor that we look so much in watches and have a hard time explaining. It has the X factor of representing well and paying tribute to the first diver's watch, including its quirks. It exudes that charm that says sea, ships, ocean, and exploration. In conclusion, the Squale Corso Italiano is a practical and personal example of the real experience of owning a dive watch from the early years of the history of these watches, with its benefits and also its flaws, a time when some functional aspects were clear and others not so much. But it was already a watch basically perfect. But it's not a watch that you have and that's it. It has to fit in your lifestyle, in your way of being with your personality. You have to learn to live with it, to appreciate for what it is and how it is, with all the good and the less good. The experience takes you out of your comfort zone, encourages you to investigate more, to try new things, to look with different eyes. But above all, in my case at least, I see that it fits me because I feel that it is, how to say it, my watch soulmate, a bit like the Explorer. It has that X factor that maybe has a link to our DNA, I don't know. It is the dive watch I was looking for, vintage style for someone who is starting to be vintage himself. I have no doubt Jeong Kim and Wada Watches have made something that came from the heart with traces of reason, something made with passion and dedication, special, unique, balanced and rare. The history, the function, the design, the utility, the comfort. This watch has it all for those of us who fell in love with the oceans as we were children. Now I think I understand why I love dive watches so much. It all started with the blank pen, with the 50 fathoms. And I think the Squale Corso Italiano brings this kind of true tribute to this design, this very classic design, the watch cases and human ingenuity to this great package of example of watch. And I think this is great. And I'm really happy to have the number 285 out of 500 of those watches. Well, I think that's all for today. Thank you very much for listening to me, for being in this review. Thanks again for allowing me to have more than 1,000 subscribers. And I hope to see you in the next video. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.